Good evening. Welcome to the joint board meeting, Tuesday, August 11th. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the board members to introduce themselves. Starting with our right.
John Smith, Board of Finance.
Michael Moth, Board of Finance.
Mike Ferry, Board of Finance.
Ellen Zappo, City Council.
Ron Burns, Board of Finance.
Terry Sanchowski, Board of Finance.
Rich Mizikowski, City Council.
Jerry Carlson, City Council.
Cheryl Tebow, Board of Finance.
Mary Fortier, City Council.
Orlando Kelfi, Board of Finance.
Calvin Brown, City Council.
Greg Carrier, Board of Finance.
Town Clerk Teresa Pack.
Assistant Dawn Lavella.
And Mayor Ken King. First, I'd like to welcome Ron Burns and Orlando Caffey. They're new members to the Board of Finance. Welcome. Item number 1.
Approval of minutes of the regular joint board meeting on July 14, 2015.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2.
Is the consent calendar, and there are 12 items. 2A is to transfer $9,110 within the Assessor's Office operating budget as of June 30th, 2015 for regular wages and travel reimbursement. 2B is to make an additional appropriation totaling $78,208 within the Special Grants and Donations Fund as of June 30th, 2015 for code enforcement. 2C is to make an additional appropriation of $101,458 within the Parks Department operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, funded by trust revenue. 2D is to make an additional appropriation of $4,215 within the Stormwater Trust operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, funded by a contribution. 2E is to transfer $6,776 within the Tax Office operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, for rents and leases and annual bond. 2F is to transfer $5,988 within the Community Services operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, for relocation costs. 2G is to make an additional appropriation of $25,024 within the School Readiness operating budget funded by the Quality Enhancement Grant. 2H is to make an additional appropriation of $2,891,128 within the School Readiness operating budget funded by the School Readiness and Child Daycare Grant. 2F is to make an additional appropriation of $650 within the Youth Services operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, funded by the Juvenile Diversion Grant. 2J is to transfer $8,782 within the Pine Lake Challenge Course operating budget as of June 30th, 2015 for seasonal wages. 2K is to make an additional appropriation of $11,709 within the Communications operating budget as of June 30th, 2015, funded by the Dispatch Training Grant. 2L is to make an additional appropriation of $629 within the Special Grants and Donations Fund, funded by a donation.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.
To make an additional appropriation of $2,338,949 within the general fund as of June 30th, 2015, funded by the Municipal Grant and Aid for Public Works winter operations, streets maintenance, and major roadway maintenance.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All
I
in favor?
have a question there. Of that $2,338,949, how much of an operating budget do we have set aside right now for pothole repairs? Because I imagine a lot of this in here is pothole repairs as part of repair maintenance. And I'm still curious what's going on with the machine that's down. Did that thing come back yet?
We're in the process of the machine, working with the company to return it their money back.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. End of my question.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4.
To transfer $12,000 from the general fund contingency account to the Community Services relocation account.
Move it. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Item 5. All approved. Item 5. I'm going to recuse myself.
We'll give a moment for the mayor to leave the room. Okay, item 5.
To approve an economic development grant to RGD Technologies for up to $58,275.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, the mayor can come back if somebody wants to wave to him.
No.
We have to, yes, we have to bring him back in.
Item number 6.
To approve an economic development grant to Tice Precision Steel USA for up to $112,000.
Move it. Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 7.
To approve an economic development grant to CMI Specialty Products Incorporated for $36,500.
Approval. Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 8.
Is the monthly revenue and expense report from the Comptroller.
Good evening, Mayor and Joint Board. Not too many items to discuss this evening from the Comptroller's point of view. You see on the lead sheet that we've had some significant variances in the tax revenues, which seem to be standard year to year because we only budget 98% of the collections, and the tax office seems to do a very good job. But a couple of things I want to point out to you. Robin is on vacation, but before she left, her assignment is to look at the general fund and see where we stand. And she told me before she left that we are going to have a surplus this year. And that's obviously very good news because we are going to be going out for debt in the spring. And this would be the 5th consecutive surplus we've had. Once again, it's going to set us up for, I'm going to be trying to get you an upgrade. And this is going to be very good news in that it's going to be very positive. So it's going to help us. One of the things that's been going on in City Hall, the mayor comprised and recomprised a committee on getting a modernized payroll system citywide, including the Board of Education. And we've come to a point where we're ready to make a decision. Possibly, Mayor, you want to maybe expound upon that?
Yes. When I came into office, I realized that we were still filling out time cards like they did 20 years ago. And every department head has to sign off on the time card. So we immediately started looking at automating payroll and working with the Board of Ed as far as consolidation of some of the services. And both the Board of Ed and the city agreed that the first step in consolidation is the automated payroll. So I put together a team of some department heads, Board of Ed, and myself, and we went out for RFP, and this week we just singled it down to one. Can I see what it is?
Yes, you
We're
can.
going to be going with Kronos to automate the payroll. This is going to bring us into where we should be with technology in the city. And I think it's also going to stop a lot of human nature mistakes that happen, and make it a lot streamlined, a lot easier to work in City Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, and we'll be forwarding through my office to the Board of Finance a request to come from contingency for payment of that. We've included a little bit extra for possible training. The training is going to be online, but just in case we have some issues unforeseen, then we can bring them here. So we've included a little bit more. And Madam Chairman, you'll see that letter be coming before you, and we'll take it out of contingency. And obviously it's the beginning of the year, and we're pretty strong. We've got $1 million balance. And the prior year, we're returning something in the neighborhood of $400,000 or $500,000. So even though we had a tough winter, things are looking pretty good as far as that's concerned.
Let me add one more thing. We are going with a biometric system as well.
Good
So
point.
everywhere is going to be biometrics. And these are one of the things that it's going to cost a little money to get it started, but this is, again, something that needs to be done, should have been done years ago, and like many other things, has been pushed off. So
Yeah, we spent several weeks vetting the situation, and we felt that Kronos was the best. Their references were stellar, and the equipment that's coming in is stellar, and we feel the training that that they told us will be very good. Yes, John?
Just a comment. I think you need to put more than just a little bit in there for training. Hospital went to a Kronos system quite some time ago. It's a very robust system.
Yes.
We're going to use it to its fullest extent. We're going to have to, we should get training not just 1 year, every year, because they keep modernizing that program, and it does much more than just a payroll system.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there's
Time
several.
and attendance system.
That's right. And we're going with that accrual, they call their accrual system. I'll modify the request because it's not going to you yet until next Monday, so I'll put a little bit more. It's $1,000 a day. They're coming from the Midwest if we have them here, and otherwise there is a degree of training included, which is online training. But this is going citywide, so basically it's going to include the schools system, the administration of the Board of Ed, and a lot of our outliers as far as the library is concerned, and public works, the parks at different sites that we have. So there's a lot of off-city hall sites that we're going to do this system all at one time. So I will include a little bit, it's a good suggestion, and obviously if we don't use the training, then either we can carry it forward as a discussion in the budget coming up in the fall, or we'll just include it as a standard line item until we feel there's no necessity any time further. On the lead sheet, one thing to point out, we have a couple new members here, is that what compensated absences, you see that 439,000. That is the payout to employees that are retiring at normal retirement dates. So they're entitled to a portion of their sick time by contract and also their vacation time. We have set aside funding from prior surpluses to handle this amount. So this is it's a significant variance, but it's handled through the fund balance. So it's not going to affect our year-to-year financial operations. And that's my report, unless you have some questions.
Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
On the training, we obviously have a lot of people now that are poised to use this new system.
Yes.
Is there any plans to have one or two people, maybe a small contingency here locally, so that when problems do come up, we're not constantly calling back to the Midwest?
Well, what they've told us is that we're going to be talking to their main office in the Midwest, so the answer would be no. They're not going to put a satellite just for the city of Bristol.
No, I don't mean having one of their people out here, having one of our people specialize enough in the
Yes.
knowledge of that system.
Yes, that will be.
They become our go-to
That's a
person.
good point, Mike. That's going to be handled through MIS. We're assigning Doreen Swinton, who has a lot of experience. There's going to be an interface between Kronos system and our existing Munis system, and Doreen has been here for probably 25 years, so she's an expert in Munis. She'll be dealing with the interface between the two. And obviously, it finally goes through my office for the print and distribution of the checks, so my staff will be very closely involved.
Well, a new system like this, you can almost guarantee there's going to be
Oh, yeah.
hiccups, period.
Yeah,
So it'd be nice to have that person around here that we can go to.
She's been told that's going to be her assignment and a priority.
Will employees have their own sign-on so they can check their own vacation time and so forth?
Yes, that's
through the system?
what John mentioned. There's an accrual system. They can go in under their employee ID and look at their accrued time. Also, even though the mayor mentioned it's biometrics, which is, just put your hand on it, there also is going to be backup that they could use their employee ID number to get into the system, just in case that other system, there's a problem. And we're going to have backup monitors on that also.
I think you're going to find your efficiency, the time, the money it costs for these systems more than pays itself back through efficiencies, not only from collecting the data, inputting it, and paying employees correctly, but employees aren't constantly calling you to say, hey, how many vacation days do I have left, and so forth. As I shared with you, we've just recently evaluated over 10 companies. They are all very user-friendly. Kronos was one that was in our selection, very user-friendly. It's a good choice, and it's a good, well-spent money because it will more than pay itself back.
We're looking forward to it, we really are.
Rich, you had a question? What kind of surplus do we have?
Well, we're going to have a surplus. It may be a little premature to say the amount because there still is some information coming through, but it's significant enough that we can say it's going to be positive. I've always talked about managing surplus, a concept that John kind of steered us in that direction. We're thinking maybe the surplus is going to come in somewhere between $2.5 to $3.5 million, but that's not what's going to show up on the general fund books. We'll probably whittle it down to $500,000 to $700,000. It'll be a positive number, And then the remaining balance of those will go through the Board of Finance. My suggestions are going to be to reimburse those compensated absences. We've got the OPEB problem, the other post-employment benefit problem. I'll put some money into there for the future so we don't get whacked. And we've got to also remember that something new, we've got to put aside the Cadillac tax. And that's going to be millions in 2018, I believe. So probably going to start to put some of that away. So let's assume that it was $3 million. We'll have $500,000 in the general fund that will show surplus. That's what the rating agencies want. The remainder we'll distribute to the different reserves that we're going to need for the future.
Glenn, the source of the surplus, is this because of over budgeting or is it because of savings approaches we've taken?
We try not to over budget. Part of it is because of the additional grants that we received from the state of Connecticut. Yeah, we received, it was the timing issue. The city adopted their budget the third Monday in May, and then this legislator adopted, the state adopted theirs the 4th or the 5th of June. And they included to some of the cities, to the alliance cities, extra grants. So we didn't plan for that, but obviously it was good news.
Good question. You still going to print checks?
We are working on that today. I understand Diane had a meeting with my office and a couple other department heads, I believe. And we are still printing checks, but we're down to this. But what we're trying to do, and then the stubs, we got a pile about this high, but what we're trying to do is even eliminate the paper stubs and send it to, electronic, and go to computers and maybe set up kiosks for those departments that, they're outside, stay down the yard or something along that lines. So we're working on that, but we got it down pretty low. But the problem is we had checks this high, and now we got the reverse. We got this many checks, and now we got stubs that we're handing out with envelopes, and it really doesn't make sense.
That's one of our goals for the next handful of years. That'd be great.
That is going to be a goal. We're going to do it along with the Chronos system,
That will
hopefully.
open to be implemented within the next couple of months.
Yep.
Anything else?
I have one question. In terms of the Alliance grant, is that staying in the general fund or is that being passed through to the Board of Education?
From best knowledge, we put it into the general fund. We've asked, I spoke with Henry Martin on that, and we feel confident it's general fund. And normally, if it's passed through the education, I receive a letter from the State Department of Education saying, do this, and I didn't receive that letter. And that's common practice, so it is in the general fund.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Any other business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion made seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Council meeting in 5 minutes.